Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa. Today I'm in here to talk about the last and final episode of the Never Ever Mets. It turns out that we thought this would be a one and done type of show, a filler type of show, but apparently they're being renewed for a second season. I feel as if this was kind of like the pilot season to determine, like, I guess, what is best for the show, what to take out, what to put in, and to fine tune it to make a better show. So hopefully when they come back for their second season, a lot of things are done better. For example, they require more therapy. They require more opportunities to date each other. We didn't see a lot of them going out on dates, and I feel like that was very much an important component, because if the whole basis of the show is these people are strangers, they've been talking online but they've never met each other, it should focus on their dynamic. It shouldn't focus on them in the house with other people, if you know what where I'm coming from. So more dates, more therapy, and more adult conversation. I'm not saying they're not supposed to have fun. Have fun, but I find this season it was a lot of sexual conversation too soon. I feel like a lot of these people don't even know each other. This is the first time they're meeting each other. Yes, they've talked to each other for 12 years, for 10 years, for 5 years. But that relationship was probably just them being friends. That relationship was just them, confiding in each other. Pen pals at best. So I feel like it should have been a slower introduction into knowing each other, as opposed to let's talk about sex the first episode, let's do Kama Sutra when we barely know each other. It was kind of like not making any sense. So hopefully they fine tune it and make it a better show. But let's talk about this finale. What this finale showed me was that you catch more bees with honey. And so even if the person or people may not deserve something per se, they're gonna get it, because at the end of the day, likability trumps everything. So let's go into Diamond and Aaron. So we left off where she was being proposed to by Aaron. She said yes. Nobody shocked at that. Then, after saying yes, despite a lot of red flags, and I'm not talking about his fingernails. My thing about it is people kept harping on, oh, his fingernails, his fingernails. And my thing about it is Diamond does not have a problem with it. So why are people continuously talking about his fingernails? If the woman that he is interested in doesn't have an issue with it, why should I constantly speak on something that has nothing to do with me and doesn't affect the person that is interested in him? You know what I'm saying? But there were red flags. The red flags are the proposal to another woman. Like, what happened there? Why did it happen? Why did you double back on Diamond? It almost seemed like Diamond was always a backup plan, and come to find out, he has a history of having a lot of backup plans. Many backup plans, people waiting in line for him to choose them, so to speak, if the relationship he's currently in doesn't work out. That's a big red flag. When he said after he proposed to Diamond, they're going to in the house, like telling everybody, hey, there's a ring, this is a ring. Nobody really cares, because they've created enemies out of most of the group. Between Diamond interfering in the situation with Chris and Diamond speaking on Shay, I think she created lots of enemies in the house. And so nobody was happy for her in that moment. Somebody said Shay was bitter about her proposal, but I feel like it's difficult to be happy for somebody that you felt tried to sabotage you and your relationship. Granted, later on we come to find out that maybe Diamond, her intentions were not as bad as we have probably thought it was, because he did end up being a piece of ish at the end of the day. But still, I suppose minding their business was their best bet. So at this point, a lot of the house don't really care for them, kind of excludes them from a lot of their conversations and things like that. And Greg was on Crystal Exo's channel, and he mentions that for a good period of time, Diamond and Aaron kind of secluded themselves from the rest of the cast. And we could see that, we could tell, because after the hot seat and all of that happened on the previous episode, I think they kind of got the hint that they should mind their business. But the way her being called names and her being disrespected by Shane the way that she was, I think it kind of put a sour taste in her mouth, and she was like, you know what, let me focus on myself and my business. And but anyways, that happened. They told everybody, and they told the host as well, that they got engaged. The host seemed like, oh wow, that's interesting, but she didn't seem the most thrilled. So the friend, I think Diamond was expecting more from the friend. Like, she was expecting the friend to say more than just congratulations, like dryly. But then you have to kind of understand that the friend doesn't like Aaron, and the friend doesn't want Diamond to be with Aaron. But I understand where Diamond is coming from, because at the end of the day, at least be happy for me as my friend, as my so-called sister. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm making a good decision or bad one, be happy for me. So I understand where she's coming from. But at the end of the day, it's also difficult for you to be happy for a friend when you think the friend is making a big mistake. So I understand both sides. Also, Aaron's daughter is shocked, because Aaron is like, what about Monica? Because I think Aaron's daughter knows that Aaron is someone that doesn't really stay with one woman. And so she's shocked, because I don't think she knows Diamond. And he's saying basically, well, a lot of women are interested in me, and they try to get close to me by getting close to my children and so on. But it's just quite alarming that for a lot of these couples, their family members don't even know the other partner. And that just speaks to the fact that the other partner was never a serious partner. It was just online funsies. So the daughter exposed a lot about Aaron, in that he does have a lot of women in the back burner. And he did say something like, oh, if Diamond messes up, I'm gonna just call somebody else, like in the wings. And I'm like, that's a big red flag. And then we have they talk about it, and he's like, well, I'm gonna tell these sides that I am engaged. I'm gonna tell all of them that I'm engaged. And that was enough to satisfy Diamond. And then we have a quick clip of Jody saying that Diamond and Aaron never really help with the chores. And then we get back to Diamond, who's talking to the daughter, and the daughter is like, well, you're an adult, do what's best for you. And she congratulated them and everything like that. Now they have a gift, a prize that they're willing to give. Toronto introduces the gift. It's a $5,000 voucher for furniture, which basically symbolizes that perhaps some of them will take it to the next step and perhaps move in together in the future. And so Josh and Shay end up winning. And that's why I say that it's easier to catch bees with honey. And that's something I've got to learn. Whether they deserved it or not, they won it. The people that are still together are Chris and Sandia. and they were not even they were not even contending, they were not even in contention for the spot. So I feel as if, to be honest with you, the engaged couple should have won it, because at the end of the day, they're showing signs that they're going to maybe end up living together. That was more feasible than giving it to a Rocky, Josh, and Shay that have been talking for 12 years. He had a baby on her with someone he calls a roommate, and they live so far away. One lives in Miami, one lives in Texas. Then they're talking about getting to know each other for 2 more years. Like, why give that couple the thing? And then the whole thing of Josh is, oh, we're the best couple in the house. I feel like that's all he cared about, was just taping this show and being considered the best couple for this in this show, but not necessarily thinking outside of that, because we're gonna get into them later, but that kind of died after the show ended. So did Diamond and Aaron. So we found out in the end that Diamond had issues with Aaron continuing to communicate with his exes or friends or whoever it was that he was communicating prior to Diamond. Now, these are things that you talk about before getting engaged to somebody, and that is a conversation they kind of didn't have. But what Aaron did tell Diamond is that, I'm going to tell them that I'm engaged, but he never said he was gonna cut off communication with them. That's why you mustn't assume that because a guy says, oh, I'm gonna announce to everybody I'm engaged, that it means an automatic cutting off of other people. That's why a lot of women need to be really careful with making assumptions. Ask these men direct questions so that you would get your answers, because a lot of the time we find solace in a man giving blanket statements and make assumptions. Okay, so this must mean that, when really and truly the man never said that. Okay, so ask direct questions. So we get the update. Diamond is crying. Diamond says it's been horrible ever since the show, that Aaron refuses to cut off his sides, and his friends or whoever he's talking to, that's making Diamond uncomfortable. And that's that. Like, are we shocked that they never said they broke up? I think what happened was they're having issues right now. Now, as of now, I don't know if they're together or not, but they've really been in the comment section doing tag teams, trying to get people, whoever comments on their situation, together. But anyways, if they are together or back together, I wouldn't be shocked. So let's go over to the next couple. Let's talk about, who are we gonna talk about? Let's talk about Aaron and Jody. So Aaron and Jody are, being the fake fraudulent mess that they are. It's her birthday, and so, or it was the season of her birthday, the month of her birthday, I'm not too sure. So he decided, I'm gonna surprise Jody with some gifts. So he comes in trying to do this thing like he's opening a box, like he's gonna propose to her, and her eyes are wide open, because she doesn't want to have to lie to him or tell him the truth in front of everybody. So like, her facial expressions were like, please don't do this. Like, I'm gonna have to embarrass you in front of these people if you do something stupid, like try to propose or something like that. So she was extremely skeptical. Turns out it was a chain. I think it was constellations. It was in the design of constellations for the sign of Scorpio. So he gave her that. She gave him a hug. And then he had another surprise, which she wasn't keen on. Because one thing about Jody, she does not really hide the fact that Aaron gives her the ick. Right? Anything he does gives her the ick. So when the other surprise comes about, she's scared. She's like, almost like she's ready to run out of there, almost like slightly embarrassed, doesn't know what to, like, ready to freak out essentially. And then it turned out to be the dancing, because remember on the first date he didn't know how to do that, but what's the name, bachata or whatever, Hispanic Latin dance. And so he wanted to prove to her that, I've been working on it, I've been practicing. So that was sweet of him to do. But I feel like all of the other castmates knew what it was, which was essentially that Jody doesn't like Aaron. Jody doesn't care for Aaron in that way. Millie clocked it every time. Aaron, as much as we don't like him or whatever the case may be, he clocked it every time. And I think the others just didn't want to be in their business, but they all clocked it. And on Greg's interview with Crystal XO, he says that Aaron acted naive, possibly just to not get kicked off the show. So he acted like he didn't see things, and he kept on trying, knowing the outcome. He knew what the outcome would be, but he kept on trying and giving this illusion that, oh, she does like me, and it's just that she has this hard shell, and I'm just trying to break the shell, and it's so difficult. He had to have this approach in order to last as long as they both did, because if he didn't have this approach, I'm pretty sure Taronda would have clocked it, and she would have been like, you guys are wasting our time, like, go home, kind of thing. But he said that Aaron definitely knew. They had conversations. He was very well aware. And even when Jody takes him aside and has the conversation with him, he already knows that it's not anything positive that Jody is getting ready to say. So Jody said, well, I'm not there with you romantically. I hope that you could find somebody that could be there with you romantically. I'm just not there with you romantically. And he knew that. It's not that he didn't know. And she's like, okay, that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop talking to you. I'm gonna keep talking to you, but there's things I need to work on, like when it comes to me. And I don't necessarily think, I do think she does have trauma and things she needs to get through and work through. But the only reason why it's such a difficult thing for us to watch as viewers is because she simply didn't like Aaron. If it was somebody she liked, I don't think it would have come across so cringy. And then we have the situation where, of course, I think Owen did an exclusive of him telling the other men they broke up and so on and so forth. Like, nobody's really surprised. They didn't even really broke up because they were never together in the first place. So I'm like, broke up? Were you guys even ever together? No, you guys weren't. Greg's opinion on everything was essentially, did Jody have to be so disgusted with Aaron? Like, could she be nicer to him? So his thing was, he wishes Jody could have been nicer to Aaron because Aaron was nice to her and really tried with her. And the answer to that is no, she couldn't. She couldn't hide it. She was disgusted with him. And then she kind of hints at the fact that she might very well like women instead. And for people that don't clock it, they'd say, oh, that's why she was so disgusted with Aaron. But I don't think that was what it was. I think she's really bisexual. And so she swings either way. If it was Chris, I think she would definitely be more attracted to him than any other female in that house. But since it was Aaron that she had to deal with, it's easy for her to make the excuse of, I might like women type of thing. But really and truly, girl, you just didn't like Aaron. And she goes on her profile and she's like, not me coming out on national TV. Nobody's really surprised because actually Married for 10 Years did an analysis. She did a really great analysis on Jody, and she essentially said that they both, Jody and Aaron, came together or kind of have a bit of a bond when it comes to their sexuality. She mentioned that she's a complex individual, and how it was interpreted was that she's complex in the sense of her sexuality. She doesn't quite like men. She doesn't quite it's like she's not quite heterosexual, and she probably struggled with it for a lot of her life. And we have Aaron, is also probably bisexual as well, and he struggled with it as well, especially hearing from other cast members that the other men kind of called him gay and kind of shunned him a bit. I think it kind of was hard on him as well. So I think they found solace in knowing that both of them were on the same page as far as their sexuality was concerned. So they bonded on the fact that they're both confused about their sexuality. And so they decided, okay, it's better for us to be a team because we can confide in each other in that regard. Like nobody would be able to understand us but each other in that regard. And so I understand why they started an online friendship, but it just did not translate outside of that. They still speak to each other. She's still under his comments, but I feel like it was very harsh the way she treated him online. So later on, yeah, that's where we found out when they did the call, the check-in with Toronda. That's where we found out that Jody may very well have a liking to women, and we were not shocked because she was so enthusiastic about kissing Sandia, you know. And Chris kind of outed her and said, oh, there's a woman here that likes other women. So she kind of outed him before she was able to out herself. So there's that. And then with Aaron, the update was, what was the update on Aaron? I don't know what happened with the updates on Aaron per se. The update is, whatever the update was, they're not together clearly. It is what it is. Somebody said something about they broke up after the show, whatever the case may be. I don't believe none of that crap. They were never together in the first place, so it is what it is. So let's move on to Millie and Greg. Everybody had high hopes for them. A lot of people thought that they were the most attractive couple in the house. And my thing about them was that we saw how Millie popped off. And Millie's not a tame, calm person like Sandia is. She's a firecracker. So in my mind, I'm like, Greg is willing to be in a relationship with this firecracker, and he expects the relationship to go well. Absolutely not. It would never. Like, they seem to have calmed down towards the ending of the show, but still, what we saw of Millie, there's no way that would turn into a healthy relationship. Just no way, because she just is unable to control her emotions, and Greg had to kind of be her emotional regulator. And I feel like that becomes exhausting after some time, to constantly have to calm somebody down and be there for somebody when the reverse occurred. When Greg needed her, I don't think she was there for him as much as he was there for her. Not that it's a competition, but a relationship is not one-sided, and it's not always being there for one person. It's both partners being there for each other. And I don't think we saw much of them in the show per se. But what I did say about Millie was that when each of the couples were heading home one by one, she hugged Diamond. I think she was the only one that Diamond hugged. Maybe someone else, I'm not sure. And then when they left, Millie's like, oh, I'm happy they left first, or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, Millie's a little two-faced. Like, she'll hug you in your face, but then she'll talk ish about you behind your back. And I feel like, as much as Millie appears to be strong and set in her mindset, I feel like there's a part of her that's also a people pleaser, and she may not be 100% honest about certain things. So when it came to Millie and Greg, they were like, they left the show being an official couple, boyfriend and girlfriend couple. And he claimed to have known her birthday. I think she drilled that into everybody's head, like with the dramatic response. So everybody knows it's June 21st. So the finale occurred on the West Coast, on the West Coast, like on the 21st, so on her birthday. So he was like, in the Crystal Exos interview, he was so traumatized from that one time he forgot her birthday, that he's like, I was checking my phone, I was making sure, and I made sure to tell her that first thing in the morning or whatever, because women like that will kind of traumatize you into kind of pleasing them, because you do not want to see the side that is not pleased. So we've ended up finding out that they were together every day, almost smothering each other after the show happened. And then they were having this really good day. And he had just taken her to an expensive restaurant called Benihana's. And he had spent a whole lot of money on that date, right? And then at night, they're talking and she brings up her nails. I guess she wanted him to pay for a manicure and pedicure, and it got into a heated argument. Now I think why that became a huge issue is because she is used to dating men that are way older than her. And when women date men that are older than them, they typically do so because of the financial benefits of doing so. And I feel like she's accustomed to a particular lifestyle that she gets with older men. And I don't think it is normal for her to date a guy as young as Greg is, because it's just not what she does. So her expecting him to kind of, I'm not even gonna say fund her lifestyle, but I'm gonna say fund her lifestyle, was what she expects from the men she dates. So she tried it on Greg, and then it blew up. Greg never struck me as some rich individual. He's never struck me as a well-to-do type of man. He strikes me as a guy that tries to work hard and does his best, has been a homosexual in the past, and is learning to be more independent for Millie. But that's not his norm. His norm, in my opinion, is using his good looks to get financial benefits from women. And that is not the dynamic that Millie is used to. She's used to the opposite. She's used to men spending on her and treating her like a princess. She's used to the sprinkle stuff. And Greg was never giving sprinkle. So I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I think Millie has moved on. I think Greg has moved on. Even after Greg explained all of this, people are still asking in the comment section if Greg and Millie are still together. Like, use your common sense. Greg and Millie are not together. They're no longer together. They were together for a brief moment after the show. And then I think Greg realized that he's not going to be able to maintain a strong, healthy relationship with Millie. They both have issues that they need to work on. But I feel like for Millie, she needs some emotional regulation. She needs to know how to properly express her emotions and her feelings. Greg has worked on it. He's there already, but I can't see Greg constantly being in that role of emotionally regulating Millie. Millie has to do that for herself. So I never saw this couple really going far. So then we have Sienna and Brandon. Sienna is like, I still keep in contact with Brandon. In fact, we have plans on hanging out and so on and so forth. And then you go to Brandon, and Brandon is like, yeah, I met this woman, I kissed her, and we're together now. And it's like, does Sienna know this? Does Sienna know this? Like, this is so funny to me, because Sienna and Millie are such twins when it comes to their emotions. They're just like firecrackers, and when Millie said she's just like Sienna, it literally like put an antenna up. I was like, Crooks, like what? And then we soon found out that she is just like Sienna. Aaron and Diamond crumbled, Millie and Greg crumbled. You wanna know who else crumbled? Josh and Shay crumbled. So they've been going through this entire season really, really strong. Like, yeah, like we're the best couple in the house. We're the best couple in the house. And they were constantly in the boom boom room. And I feel like they didn't take enough time to learn about each other. For them, it was about a free vacation. It was about having sex. It was about treating this like a honeymoon and a temporary thing. Then it was about making this last in real life. Because let Alexis tell it, Josh told her that she and himself were not a real couple. And that makes sense to me because there's no way you know somebody for 12 years and y'all never met. And they want to make it seem like they were this serious couple for 12 years. Even though they keep saying it was off and on, but still, 12 years, never met each other. Obviously, that wasn't serious. That cannot be a real couple. That was what Alexis said, and I believe Alexis. I don't think they were a real couple either. I think after they met, she had hopes that their relationship could work because they had such a great time on the show, but it ended up not working. And a big sign, that a big red flag that I had that kind of doesn't make this surprising, is that when her sister met Josh, the sister never knew anything about Josh. The sister was kind of shocked, like, who's this guy? And she looked like she'd never seen Josh a day in her life. And we learned that she was kind of keeping him from her family because she wanted to get to know him more, which leads me to believe that the 12 years wasn't them being serious. Those 12 years were just them like being online friends and conveying like and trauma dumping on each other, but not necessarily a real relationship. So I wasn't shocked to find out that it kind of crumbled, and it didn't take long. After the show, she said that Josh only talked to her like 2 times. And Josh mentioned he had several deaths. He had a cousin die. Warren died. Warren was his good friend on the show. And he had somebody else that died. So 3 people died. And he's been dealing with that. But at the end of the day, like, if you want a relationship to work, you're gonna tell your partner, hey, I've been going through some things and just give me some time right now. I really need some time. Or you tell them, I really want to, because if you guys have been confiding in each other for 12 years, what is making it so difficult to continue to do so even after he's experienced his tragedies? You know what I'm saying? But instead, he kind of cut her off, and he's continued to do him. So we find out that we was kind of using the deaths as an excuse as to why he did not continue communicating with Shay. And then later on, they asked him like if he's dating, and he's like, yes, he has been on a couple dates. He does talk to a couple people. And in my mind, I'm like, that just sounds crazy to me. Just say you didn't want Shay. Just say you used Shay for this experience and you never saw it going forward long term. Just say that. Because when he said he was boasting to his friend that they're the best couple in the house, that's when I clocked that everything they did, especially with Josh, where Josh is concerned, was for the house. Everything was performative and done for the house. I think Shay took it seriously, but he did not. And she did not know that he did not take it seriously until after the show ended. There's no cameras in their face. There's nobody to prove anything to, and everything just crumbled. Am I shocked? No. There was too many red flags, too many things that were unaddressed. Like the child that happened, the and all these things, and you know, his teeth, and all these things, the distance, how are you guys gonna make that work? You know, you have children, you don't want to move to Miami, how is that gonna work? Like, where are the children gonna how are you gonna be able to see your children? Like, are you the sole parent? Like, what's going on? Like, none of that was addressed. And I feel like while they were on the show, they saw it as a fairy tale, and they treated each other like they were enjoying everything. Like, food was paid for, rent was paid for, they got this beautiful mansion, they got everything like was done for them, so they enjoyed it. Greg, and I think a lot of people were saying that with Josh, he went back to his serious woman. He went right back to his relationship when he was done, and I agree. That's what it seems like. The same one he was talking about, oh, I just like tripped and fell in her coochie and had a child. That's probably the same one he went back to. And they probably didn't work out, and then he decided to get in those streets. And so Greg's thought on Crystal XO was that he did the Alexis thing. He doesn't believe that Greg like wanted to sleep with Alexis. But to be honest with you, I disagree with Greg, and I do think he wanted to sleep with Alexis, and if Alexis had agreed, I'm pretty sure he would have slept with Alexis. I also believe that he told Alexis that him and she was not real. And the reason why I agree, because look at the outcome. Look at how quickly he kind of dropped her and moved on with his life. That's not somebody that ever took Shay seriously. And the thing with them is that they ran to the boom boom room at every chance they got, instead of sitting down and speaking to each other on a serious, deep level. And everything was rushed under the rug, and nothing was addressed. And that is precisely why Shay is in the situation that she's in, because she did not ask difficult questions. She just loved the high she was on, and oh, we're the best couple in the house. And what does being the best couple in a stupid reality show get you? Nothing. It doesn't get you anything. So anyways, let's talk about the last couple, the couple that we thought were the most, I wouldn't say we thought they were the most problematic, because a lot of the couples were problematic, but we did not see it for them. Well, actually, I lied. It's just that I didn't think of them, but to come to think of it, it makes sense that they're still together. Chris and Sandia, they went back to Miami together. He was like, I can't wait for us to have sex and for us to do this and do that. Families have been introduced to each other. I would think a fellow Haitian family would embrace a Haitian partner, because all of you guys are Haitians. So the families didn't have any issues with any of them. I think, of course, they're gonna like him, and who, like, which family would not like Sandia? Sandia is calm, she's quiet, she's nice, she's goal oriented, she's a nurse. I hope she never gives up her nursing career for Chris, because I feel like this is where the relationship will crumble. She's gonna lose herself, and it's gonna be a mess. So, but it's just been 4 months. Like, literally, they said 4 months later. It's been 4 months. So, I wonder if they're still together now. At this point, it would be 2 years from the time they started filming. I think Sandia is still following Chris, so hopefully that's a good sign. He's not ever posted any pictures of him and her together. That might just be because his Instagram page seems to be one where he's selling himself as this sex symbol type of thing. So I guess it wouldn't work if he posts Sandia on his page, like the whole persona of being this single, sexy, suave, muscular man. You know, it wouldn't work for the image if Sandia is on his page. But I don't know if they're still together now. We need a 2-year update. We need a 2-year update. I think Diamond and Aaron have definitely got back together, because they're in the YouTube streets fighting for their lives in there. So I wouldn't be shocked. All in all, they've been renewed for a second season, so good for them. Happy for them. um I don't know. They really need to fix this show if they're gonna bring it back a second time. They really need to fix it. It was so ghetto the first time around. I'm gonna give them the grace because this is new. It's a pilot season. Nobody knows how this is gonna turn out, but it is what it is. Less sex and more serious conversations moving forward. More therapy conversations moving forward. More seriousness moving forward. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.